Welcome to Juniper Learning Byte. My name is Gibbs and I am a content developer with the Education Services Department. Today we will be discussing the Junos Space policy versioning in Security Director Learning Byte. So first things first, what is policy versioning? Well, you have to ask yourself, what if mistakes are made and a policy is saved? Well, the good news is, the answer to that is that policy versioning stores snapshots of each policy. That means that we can revert back to those policies. We can revert back to that version of that policy. And so if a mistake is made, that's okay. We can revert back to a saved version of that policy and everything is good. Okay, there's two types of snapshots. There's manual snapshots and automatic snapshots. And manual snapshots is just you going in and creating a snapshot manually to save that current state of the policy. Automatic snapshots occur whenever you publish the policy. And so then also there is a limit of 60 snapshots per policy. Whenever that limit is reached and you have to create a new snapshot, the oldest snapshot is automatically deleted. Okay, so let's jump into the demo. Okay, we have the policy called FW-1. That's a firewall policy. And let's create some rules. Notice that it is locked currently, so that means we can edit it. So we're going to create some pre and post zone based rules and some pre and post global based rules. Let's just change these to actual zones on the managed devices. And then we'll change the some of the outputs here, or some of the actions, excuse me. And we'll go ahead and save that. Okay, it's been saved. So let's go ahead and publish this this firewall policy to the managed devices now. And now that we've published that, we can check the snapshots by right-clicking on the policy itself and then going to the Manage Snapshots workspace. And as you can see here, we have a snapshot. Well, first of all, we actually have two snapshots. You may be asking yourself, why are there two snapshots? We only did one publish and update. Well, the reason behind that, the first snapshot is called, you're looking at the version column here, you can see that it's called current. And then we have version 1 snapshot. Well, that current snapshot is just what the policy currently looks like. And so we could actually use that. We could compare the two. Right now the current and snapshot 1 looks the same, so it wouldn't make much sense to compare it. But you could do that and just catch a comparison between the two. And then we have the snapshot date, the username of who was logged in for the snapshot. So whoever did the snapshot, I logged in as the super user, and I published the snapshot or published the policy. So the super user gets put in as the username for the snapshot. And then we have the comments. These are automatically entered for automatic snapshots. We have the snapshot taken before a publish and update. So we did a publish and update operation, and so a snapshot occurred. Okay, let's make a few changes here. We're just going to change a few things around to get another snapshot. So let's change that to any IPv4 for the global, and that's good for now. We'll save it. And we'll have another automatic snapshot by doing a publish operation, not a publish and update operation. Okay, so we did the publish there. So let's examine snapshots again. And now you can see we have two snapshots. Notice that in the version field, that 1, that's the snapshot we took first, which shows the publish and update in the comments, is lower on the list than 2. So the version counts up in that way, whereas the lower numbers are going to be the older snapshots and the higher numbers are going to be the newer snapshots. And then as you can see in the comment section, we have snapshot taken before publish. Now we did a publish and update here to get an automatic snapshot but we only did a publish here. So that kind of begs the question of what happens if we do an update operation by itself. Would a snapshot be taken? Well, we can look at that real quick. We can test that out. Go to the update device workspace. We can update the firewall policy itself. Then go back to the firewall policy workspace. And then we can go to the manage snapshots workspace. And as you can see, we do not have a new snapshot. That means that the update operation does not create an automatic snapshot, only the publish operation. In the first snapshot, we had just happened to do a publish and update at the same time. Since there was a publish operation in there, that means an automatic snapshot is created. Okay, so let's look at manual snapshots now. So we do that by right-clicking on the policy and then going to the snapshot policy. Actually, before we do that, let's make a few changes. So this manual snapshot actually looks different. So let's do this by, let's add some rules. Let's make this really different. Let's add a pre-rule for global. Let's add a post rule for global. Then we'll add a pre-rule zone-based and another pre-rule global, pre-rule zone-based. Then let's do this. Let's delete this post rule. Okay, so we're going to have to actually set zones that are in there. Actually, on the managed devices itself. Set this to permit. Another permit in here. Reject in here. And then we'll actually go through and change the profile on one of these rules. So let's change it on, see what rule is that. Let's do an existing one. Do the pre-1 for the global. Actually, I want to do it for this guy up here. And we'll do some logging for session init, session closures, and then we'll save that policy. And then we'll right-click, and we'll do the manual snapshot. And notice how we can actually enter some comments for this manual snapshot. And that's fantastic because you can actually say what happened, why you're doing this manual snapshot. So we can say added pre and post rules, zone and, I'll put a comma in there, zone and global. And then we'll click the create button. And then a menu comes up, shows us the created version number 3. So we'll know it's version number 3. Lets us know that everything's good here with the 3 check marks, and we'll close that. Alright, so let's actually take a look at that snapshot. We can see version 3. It's the newest version. So we talked about before. The higher number is newer. And then we have our comments, added pre-roll, post-rolls, zone, and global. That's awesome. That's what we want to see. Well, let's talk about actually examining, comparing the difference between the two rules, or between two different snapshots. You can't do 3. The compare button goes away. So let's do that, and then we have to decide which perspective we want to look at from. Base version is the perspective from compared to the compared to version, so 1 compared to 3. We can swap that with the swap button if we want, but we're going to stick with the base version of number 1 to the compare version of number 3. Okay, so let's compare that. And here's a nice chart that shows you this, the compare, and you can see the legend here. We have the added firewall, added to FW1 policy, number 3, modified to, so this is, from 1 to 3, so what was added to number 3? What was modified to number 3, which was deleted from number 3. So we can see here that we have these rules added with this information here, these rules deleted, this added, or this modified here, and then we have some rule column changes as well that we can see in the comparison. So let's close that. Let's roll back to a policy. So let's roll back to number 1. We just took number 3. That's what it looks like. So let's roll back to 1. Click the rollback button. See that there's some changes going to happen. There's 4 rules to group type. Go to the next page. This is the summary. You can see the total rules. Any errors, any warnings. Object errors, object conflict resolution. You don't want anything in any object errors or conflict resolution. So far everything looks good. So let's click the finish button and roll back that policy. Now as you can see, the rollback policy window pops up, and then we get a policy change window. It says, hey, the current policy changed, do you want to reload it? Yeah, sure. If we said no there, we just have to click firewall policy again and it would reload the new policy. And we can see everything looks good here. We can click summary report, which is just a summary report that we looked at beforehand, and that is a successful rollback. We can see all the status of it, everything that happened. So we can close that window, and we have rolled back to the snapshots, the version 1 snapshot that we took automatically when we originally published and update the firewall policy. So that brings us to the end of this Learning Byte. In this Learning Byte, the Junos Space Policy Versioning and Security Director Learning Byte, we talked about creating some firewall policies. That firewall policy was already created for us. Then we talked about manual snapshots, automatic snapshots, comparing snapshots, and then we threw in some extra, although I don't have it listed, we threw in some rolling back snapshots as well and how that works. And so that's the end of this Learning Byte, and I hope what you learned in this Learning Byte will be helpful to you. And as always, thanks for watching.
Visit the Juniper Education Services website to learn more about courses. View our full range of classroom, online, and e-learning courses. Learning paths, industry segment and technology-specific training paths. Juniper Network's certification program, the ultimate demonstration of your competence. And the training community, from forums to social media. Join the discussion.